Good evening. We'll call to order the regular monthly meeting of the City of Helotes Planning and Zoning Commission at 7 o'clock. It is February the 7th. I'll ask for the roll to be called by the Commission Secretary.
Joe Edmond,
Here.
Ron Haza, Greg Michelle,
Here.
Mike McLaughlin,
Here.
Richard Hawk,
Here.
Mario Rios, Jeff Wade, Jason Whitman.
Here.
We are joined by Alex Blue from City Council, and Rick Schroeder is our City Administrator. And we will begin tonight with citizens to be heard. I don't believe there's anybody here this evening to speak, so we will move ahead to the approval, or discussion and action, hopefully approval of the minutes from the regular meeting on January the 3rd, 2017. You should have found this in your packet. And this would be the time, if there are any edits or changes, to let us know. I'd like to thank Mike McLaughlin for pinch hitting on doing the minutes
Grace.
in January.
Thank Grace.
And
That's who we
Grace
should
as well
thank.
for helping. But if there are no changes, we can have a motion on the minutes.
Motion to approve. I'll second it.
All in favor of the motion to approve the minutes as submitted, please signal aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Who was second?
It was Jason and Michael. The minutes are approved unanimously. And Ron, there was, we didn't actually, we approved the minutes,
I still have to sign the one from the month.
right, so that's what that one is. And then this is,
That's the one he
you don't get to sign this one. You get to take responsibility.
Yeah, there you go.
Our next item this evening is discussion and action on a request for approval of wall signage pursuant to Code of Ordinances, Chapter 66, signs, Section 51, commercial signs projecting wall and hanging or in or on windows by the Helotes Humane Society and Second Chances Thrift Shop located at 10671 10675 Shanefield Road. We'll turn this over to our city administrator to present. This is in the ETJ, is that correct?
Yes, sir, it is in the ETJ. Staff reviewed this item. We have a copy of the sign on the screen in front of you. It's a very small sign. It's 40 inches by 40 inches. We believe that it complies with the Code of Ordinances as presented. The concern that we have, and let me...
I'm sorry, Rick, can I interrupt you for a second? These are two different signs on two different structures, is that correct?
They actually only applied for one sign, and that's the concern that we have.
Okay.
The commission has approved in the past the monument sign for both buildings.
Right.
That is along Shanefield Road. They submitted the one sign for, which is the Helotes Humane Society main administrative building, for approval. But in the process, we did uncover that there is another sign, again, on the screen in front of you for the Second Chances Thrift Shop. It, again, as you can see, is rather small, set next to the entryway of Second Chances Thrift Shop. We believe that this sign complies with the code because the code does allow for two wall signs in addition to a monument sign for a single business. In addition to that, this sign is also on a completely separate building within the complex. So we believe it does comply with our Code of Ordinances. The problem is they didn't submit an application for this sign. What I would recommend the commission do so that the applicant doesn't have to come back would be to, it is our recommendation to approve both signs as presented, but during the administrative process, we will make them fill out another application and pay the requisite fee for the second sign.
Are both signs currently in place?
The one sign for Second Chances Thrift Shop, it's my understanding, obviously it's in place. The other sign has not been put into place yet. It's my
Somehow
understanding.
Second Chances got overlooked in terms of going through the process.
That is correct.
And its dimensions seem comparable to what the other one is,
That is correct.
so we don't know for sure. And these are both wall, they're not lit.
That is correct.
Okay. Questions, comments? So, again, we have the Helotes Humane Society wall sign, which was submitted, and for which we have the administrative paperwork. Second chances, we do not. The fact that it's in our packet, where did that image come from?
Staff.
From staff, okay.
It's actually was on their website when we were going through it, because it seemed unusual that they would have two buildings but only one sign. And so in the course of me looking through their website, I uncovered a picture of that, and it showed that they had a wall sign on that building.
Is that a pound? This building a pound?
What's the question?
Is this building a pound? Is it a place to keep animals?
Rick?
Yes, they do keep animals.
Permitted use within the ETJ, or with,
There is no use,
right,
uses within the ETJ.
yeah. Right, thank you. So the suggestion is to, if it's compatible with what the commission wants, is to simply request that a sign application be completed for the existing sign, but that this commission would approve it. I think on the condition that the sign indeed conforms with code.
And we believe that it conforms with the square footage per frontage requirements for
Yes,
each
sir.
building?
Yes, sir.
Okay, is there a motion? Who'd like to craft?
I'll offer a motion, Mr. Chairman.
Sure.
I'll offer a motion to approve the request for wall signage pursuant to Code Ordinance Chapter 66, Section 6651, commercial sign projecting wall hanging in or windows by the Holders Humane Society. Second Chances Thrift Shop located 10671 and 10675 Shanefield Road, San Antonio, Texas 78254. More particularly described as property ID number 234218 and 234217 respectively.
I'll second that.
So we actually need, as the city administrator was suggesting, that we need,
Well, I'm gonna second that,
you want to make a friendly amendment?
and I will amend that with asking them for an application to add the Second Chance Thrift Shop
For, for that sign.
for this
Asking or requiring?
requiring.
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 You accept that, Joe?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So the motion is to approve the request for wall signage pursuant to 6651 for Helotes Humane Society and Second Chance Thrift Shop, 10671 and 10675 Shanefield Road, with the requirement that the applicant submit a sign application for the Second Chances Thrift Shop. And we know that the city staff will ensure that that sign indeed conforms to our code. Is there further discussion on this item, Joe or Ron or anybody else? Okay, all in favor of the motion to approve, please signal aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is approved. Item 6 tonight is discussion and action on a request for approval of freestanding signage pursuant to Code of Ordinances, Chapter 66, Signs, Section 21, exempted signs by the City of Helotes at 14392 Bandera Road. And not to short-circuit your presentation, which I'm very anxious to hear, if it's an exempted sign, what are we doing?
Did they pay their fee?
Fortunately for us, we're exempted from the fee as well, Commissioner. It was practiced in the past that even though this was an exempted sign, we had the literature or the way that it looked, since it is rather large, reviewed by the Planning and Zoning Commission for approval, or if they had any modifications or recommendations, we would then incorporate that into this sign. Staff did design this sign. The Hello Texas is a part of our publication, or a lot of our marking materials at this point that the EDC and the city have created together. And again, Hello Texas is a play on the Helotes, Texas. We were trying to make this sign stand out a little bit more versus what is currently there, which is basically a black slate with gold or beige lettering. particularly to say, welcome to the Old Town Helotes, and key in on what is in Old Town: shopping, dining, music, and entertainment. That essentially sums up everything that we have, that we are proactively advertising within the district. We aren't including office space or service type work such as car service, because that, again, those are, particularly the auto service, is a non-conforming use. We're not trying to get rid of Mander Automotive by any means, but it isn't something that we are proactively advertising that district for or recruiting into that district. And so that is why we have included it in your packet, even though it is an exempted sign, because it is such a large sign along the highway.
Same location as the current one?
Yes, sir. Everything is exactly the same. The structure is the same. It is just refacing the front and the back side of that sign with this, it's essentially a vinyl decal. We removed the vinyl decals that are there and we placed this on instead.
Ron?
Mr. Chairman, I go by the sign 4 or 5 times a day. What I've noticed is gold on black does not jump out at you. But signs that do jump out at you is a white background, black letters, or, white background, black letters with gold highlights on the letters. But it just, as in the middle of the day, it's fine. As the day starts to fade, it no longer catches your eye. It's sort of a blank surface.
So, Commissioner, are you suggesting that we change the color scheme of the proposed sign?
My suggestion would be, because gold on black is real hard to see.
And we're amenable to anything. I mean, if whatever the commission would like to see, we certainly can do that. It's just simply changing a color, so.
How did you come up with the colors and schemes and so forth, as it was just a?
We are trying to keep, to be honest, we did think about the white background, but given the fact that this is 12 foot by 8 foot, I didn't want to propose to the commission something that would be so stark. And as you said, jump out at you. But at the same time, that is sort of the intended purpose of the sign. So what we have proposed here is repainting the black sign with more of a muted color. And I think he has a beige or a very dark brown instead, and replacing that vinyl lettering with the gold. If you wanted us to do a decal with the background being completely white, we certainly could do that.
Well, white or another color, it's just the black and the gold. The letters don't jump out at,
Oh, I know, and
And
actually,
that is the purpose of the sign, for you going by and just catch it out of the corner of your eye so you read it.
yeah, and one of the reasons we're bringing this up, if you notice, one side of the sign is significantly more degraded than the other side of the sign, because that's a part that hits the sun most of the day, so. Staff is fine with, again, whatever the commission thinks is appropriate for the district. We just didn't want something that was completely inappropriate with the color schemes in that area. And I'm not suggesting that, again, white is, but that's why we didn't present that
Right.
concept.
Or a lighter color with a solid color letter, a red, a black, a dark green, against a light background. I feel you can pick it out a lot better.
Seems to
think
me
those
if
are our
all the
sign-
letters on that sign right there is white, it would stand out pretty good.
Jason?
I think the sign, doesn't the sign ordinance though kind of discourage, I believe, white? I think they're looking for, darker or more earth tones, as I recall from the reading about that, and more.
Yes, sir. I mean, there
natural
is a color
materials.
scheme that's generally applicable to both buildings and signs, and that would be more of the earth tones that the ordinance calls for. Again, as was pointed out at the very beginning, this is a government notice or a government sign, so we would be exempt from those. I'm not saying that we should be exempt from them, but we would be if you wanted to go a different direction.
That was when it was brand new, as soon as it started to fade,
Well, that orange and white really jumps right out. That's real nice.
it goes away.
Yeah, Michael?
Do you have a professional office, something you go to get these things done? An
We
architect?
have done all of this in-house.
So you don't have any professionals,
Uh,
artists,
Not degreed professionals, but we're very adept at using Photoshop for these types of things. So it's very easy for us to make any changes the commission would like, if that is the,
okay. Well, I'm just thinking that the commission doesn't have anybody who's a good degreed professional either. So it just becomes an opinion almost.
yes, but it is a very important opinion.
Okay, all right.
Michael?
A few weeks or some small number of months back, didn't we have something in front of us for Old Town? There was something in Bandera, a restaurant or something that was going to come in. They had some really harsh color combinations. And I forget what we were.
Oh, that was yeah, that was the location where Helotes Humane Society used to be, directly across from Old Town.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember. I thought we gave them some guidance on, it seemed like what they had by default was just,
The guidance that the commission gave was, if you recall, it was a yellow background.
yeah.
With some very bright colors on top of that, and the commission was okay or approved the sign as presented, with the exception that the background be changed from bright yellow to a beige.
That's what that's what I was looking for. Okay. But maybe something along those lines where yeah, it still jumps out at you, but not quite as much as a white. You still want it to blend in, but like you're saying, Ron, you want it to be visible or apparent to you. I don't know, white might be too harsh, maybe. I don't know.
Would we accomplish anything if we simply changed the shopping, dining, music, entertainment to white lettering?
We do that too.
I mean, aesthetically, I don't know if that
would
is
stand
the
out.
look you want to go for, but I agree with Richard that band, that white-orange band is very effective and not, not overwhelming, but certainly readable. I wonder if you might produce a prototype with white.
I would suggest to you that white would accomplish what Commissioner Haza is looking for in standing out against a black background, yes.
What about like maybe a lighter, like a tan with black lettering? Would be sort
Or
of
a
opposite.
beige background with black lettering, that would certainly work. One of the other reasons that we're looking at this color scheme is, if you notice, the Hello Texas, which is a logo that we have created that we use on, again, a lot of our marketing material, has the orange to beige effect. It goes from to the left to the right, and fades. And so that is why we're looking at sort of this yellow, gold, orange type look in addition to the beige.
I think one of the concerns was that it is not well seen at night. Is it lit up? Is it possible to light up without?
We have solar lights on it that are actually fit on the top of it. They're commercial grade solar lights, but what we found is they do not work very well, or they don't last very long. And so we have not really taken a lot of time to upgrade those lights or to invest in actual electricity to the sign. The sign does not have any electricity to it, which is why we were trying to go with the solar concept to save some money. So for all intents and purposes, at night, it's relatively dark.
What's your timeline? I mean, is this the type of thing you guys want to move quickly on?
We don't have a set time frame on this.
I mean, maybe it'd be worth, if we could take another month, if you all could produce maybe just 2 or 3 different versions of some of the schemes we're talking about here, white lettering or black on tan, or just, if it's a matter of swapping it out using Photoshop, that
Yeah,
maybe
it
that's
is.
pretty easy.
Yeah, and we can certainly do that.
I also wonder I'm sorry, one other thing. I also wonder, I don't know that we can really know how true the colors are we're looking at here to what they actually are.
The colors that are in your packet are, again, it's with our copiers, you lose quite a bit of the color that's on there. And even with the projector, putting up an electronic version of it, you're still going to lose lose a lot of that color quality. You would really gain, if you're interested, you could always come during the day or during the day, Monday through Friday, and we can show you on the screens in the back what it looks like, but we can certainly make different variations on it included in the next packet.
That might be worthwhile. I mean,
We could also email y'all so you could look at it on your computer, the actual file.
That's a good idea.
Yep.
and you said it's two-sided, yes?
Yes, it would be the same on both sides.
I like the color combinations as they are, but I think Ron's right, it's gonna be a little bit dimmer at night. But then, let me ask one more question, the part that's orange, and when it's dark outside, is it sufficient just to be able to say, or see, welcome to Old Town Helotes? Is that enough at that time of day, or, I mean, and I'm just throwing it out, you know.
Well, it becomes an advertising sign at night, right? Because most of the year it's light fairly late. When people would be coming out here for activities, it's still light out. But I would be interested in encouraging the city, once this is done, to actually do invest in good solar lights so that it does stay lit up overnight.
I agree.
I think that's a great point.
Then the color scheme goes away, that problem goes away potentially.
Well, I don't know. I mean, in daytime it can be tough.
The gold's real hard to see.
Is it?
Mr. Chair, another thing that's going to highlight this with the background, your Texas, you'll be able to see that, I think, the fading, the color change with a lighter background versus the black.
Oh,
I guess we'll just ask you to, so I don't know that you need specific direction on what to produce, but you've heard a few ideas here.
Yeah, we'll create 4 or 5 different representations of this, taking into account what y'all have talked about with the white or the beige background and changing the letters, and we'll bring it to y'all at the next meeting.
And I assume, I do like the idea of lights, but I assume it's completely impractical to run
A meter there.
a meter out there to wire it. That solar would be, even good solar would be
it's
much
not-
more cost effective.
Oh, solar's gonna be significantly less expensive than getting a meter and dealing with CPS
Yeah.
and taking power out there. It's not unheard, I mean, it's doable. It probably would cost $3,000 to $5,000 to get electrical out there.
10% of that to get good solar.
Yeah, unless we did it in-house where we're trenching ourselves and all that kind of stuff, but I mean, it's not gonna be cheap.
But to have it lit, not with the regular electricity, but to have it lit would be very important. I mean, anytime you're talking about the value of all those cars coming up and down Bandera Road, to be able to see this, it would be a big value.
Okay?
Be worth looking into.
And they could be, we'd want this to conform as much as possible with what code is anyway, right? So,
Right. Down.
downward facing,
Right,
there's a
right.
whole shielded and whatnot.
Yeah, and the current lights that we have on there, again, that are solar, actually sit on top of the rounded top portion. And so I think that we have 3 different lights that are meant to shine down. In concept, it was a great idea. In practice, it just wasn't the right product.
Yeah. How old is this sign? The current one, do you know?
Not off the top of my head, Chair, but I would say probably 5, 6 years old.
Okay. All right, well, we will look forward to that next month, so there's no action to take on that now. And you'll make sure that City Secretary knows to include this on the next
Yes, sir.
month's agenda. Well, look at that, that brings us to the end of our agenda. We can have a motion to adjourn, if there is one, Ron.
Mr. Chairman, may I make a motion to adjourn?
Is there a second? Second. All in favor of adjourning, signal aye.
Aye.
Opposed, we stand adjourned at 7:24.